A serial killer doesn't just take a life, sometimes he tries to take the story too. The public often imagines these offenders as silent predators who vanish into the night. But some do the opposite. They announce themselves, taunt the system, and practically audition for a headline. Research and case analysis point to the same core drivers: control, identity, and the psychological reward from attention. So tonight, the real question isn't, why do the media cover them? It's, why do certain serial killers need the media, and what do they get from it? First, it's the control that feels like true power. Think about what fear does to a city. People change their routes, they lock doors twice, they watch every stranger, and they pressure police to produce answers. For an offender obsessed with dominance, that reaction is intoxicating. It's proof he can shape other people's behavior without ever meeting them. That's why some killers push themselves into the investigation. Dennis Rader, BTK, didn't just kill and disappear. He kept reaching back into the community through communications sent to police and local media. He fed details and demanded attention, so the case never truly went quiet. In that dynamic, the murders are only part of the power. The public reaction becomes the other half. Then it's the identity and the building of a persona. Media attention also helps some offenders craft a character they can hide behind. A nickname becomes a shield. It turns a man into a myth. And a myth feels bigger than consequences. David Berkowitz is a prime example. During the shootings, he sent letters that taunted authorities and reinforced the son of Sam identity. The public couldn't stop repeating it, which made his alter ego feel real and ever-present across New York. Once the public starts saying your name like it's a monster in a bedtime warning, you're no longer just committing crimes, you're starring in a narrative. Now, add a third case that shows the same pattern from a different angle: the Zodiac. His letters and cryptograms weren't only communication, they were performance, designed to pull newspapers, police, and civilians into a game where he set the rules and demanded to be recognized.
Trying to look at it and write it down, it's a challenge.
Even without a courtroom confession, he tried to author his own legend through the media cycle. For a more international and modern twist, consider Javed Iqbal in Pakistan during the late 1990s. After killing dozens of boys, he sent a confession letter to police and newspapers, complete with photos and victim belongings as proof. He even surrendered to a media outlet, turning his crimes into a shocking public spectacle that dominated headlines and forced authorities to react. This shows how media seeking can cross cultures, amplifying the killer's self-created myth on a global stage. There's also the reward loop of attention. Here's the part that makes this more than ego. Attention can act like reinforcement. Some research and clinical commentary connect this to narcissistic dynamics, like how someone with extreme self-focus craves significance, feeds on recognition, and reacts badly when the spotlight fades. As FBI profiler John Douglas notes in his book Mindhunter, these offenders often see publicity as validation of their superiority. Look at how this plays out across those examples. BTK's communications kept his presence alive long after individual murders, like he was refusing to be forgotten. Berkowitz's letters didn't just describe events. They shaped fear, shaped identity, and kept him psychologically in the room with millions of people he never met. Zodiac's public messaging turned homicide into a public contest, as if the coverage itself was part of the trophy. And Iqbal's bold confession didn't just end his spree, it blasted his story into the international spotlight, feeding that same craving for notoriety. Why attention is part of the crime. For these offenders, media attention isn't a side effect. It can be part of the fantasy. I'm untouchable, I'm smarter, I decide what happens next. That's why communication matters so much in fame-seeking cases. Letters, puzzles, taunts, and public demands aren't just clues. They're psychological extensions of the violence. It puts everyone in a difficult position. Informing the public is necessary. But turning an offender into a celebrity can feed the very machinery he wants.
I have no comment on Jeffrey Dahmer because I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer. And I would not, whether it's Berkowitz, whether it's Bundy, whether it's Williams, Wayne Williams down in Atlanta, or any of the others, or Charlie Manson. See, I don't comment about other cases for the simple fact is that I wasn't there.
Do you feel somewhat of a kinship with some of these people?
God, I hate that when they put me in the same club with them.
That's precisely the club that John Gacy belongs in.
If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the minds behind the myths.